a contract with death, and a child who became the ransom. Don't miss this shocking investigation. The clairvoyance will reveal bloody family secrets. This is Psychic Investigations, a channel of exclusively true and shocking stories. People who call themselves clairvoyants investigate resonant criminal cases and mysterious paranormal phenomena. A tiny village. When psychics Rubina Cybulska and Yaroslava Fedorova were returning home from another investigation, their bus suddenly had a flat tire. The van swerved onto the opposite lane, but luckily, the driver managed to steer and stop on the side of the road.
What happened?
Something punctured the tire. It fell off the passing truck.
A spirit of a young man stopped the vehicle. He was dark-haired and had blue eyes. He showed me a strange vision of a road with a woman with long black hair on it. She was from the world of the dead, and opposite her stood a living young woman. The next moment, I noticed a large truck. It was running straight at the girl, but she stood motionless, like she was paralyzed by the gaze of this dark-haired woman from the other world. And then the spirit of the young man spoke. Save the girl's life. She will kill her in 2 days. The girl he's asking us to save is somewhere nearby.
Coincidence or not, but after the accident, our another expert, Khayal Alekperov, called our office from Azerbaijan.
I had a vision of Yaroslava and Rubina, and behind them, there was a woman from the other world. She wants to kill them.
We noticed that Yaroslava and I had missed many calls from Khayal. I immediately told him about my visions and the girl we have to save.
Khayal Alekperov can't arrive in Ukraine right now, but he promised to assist remotely. Meanwhile, our driver has replaced the flat tire, but the car won't start for some reason. Our administrator calls a tow truck. The psychics and a part of the crew have to walk to the nearest hotel.
I asked my jinns who this girl is and why the evil force seeks her death. They showed me an image. A bloodied woman's body on the floor, and above her, a man with blood on his hands. It looked like a murder.
The following afternoon, the driver is at the local repair shop. It turns out that the onboard computer of our van burned, and it will take a while to fix it. Upon learning that the famous psychics are stranded in the village, the locals begin to gather in front of the hotel.
We decided to talk to the people, hoping that they would help interpret my visions. Suddenly, Yaroslava also saw the woman from the other world among the crowd.
The black hair, it's long, and a long cloak. She's next to you.
I really felt unwell at that moment.
When I looked closely at the ladies, I recognized one of them. It was the girl from my vision.
What's your name?
My name's Vera.
I'm her sister, Nadia.
Let's go aside. A woman from the other world is chasing you. She's right here with you. Do you feel her?
It feels like my back is burning.
She's dark-haired.
And her hair is long.
Bright blue eyes.
I was shocked. They literally described the woman I saw in my dreams.
Recently, this entity hasn't been haunting you in dreams alone.
Lately, I've started seeing shadows. I have panic attacks.
She's draining your energy, and you feel weaker.
Yes, I've been losing weight rapidly.
This month only, Vera has lost over 10 kilograms due to constant anxiety and fear. She's extremely nervous and has almost stopped eating.
I fear for my life. I want to live a normal life. I want you to help me. I'm afraid for my child.
Vera is 26, and her daughter is 6. The girl's father abandoned Vera while she was pregnant.
She has no one except me.
Vera has sought medical help. The doctors diagnosed her with nervous exhaustion, prescribed her antidepressants, and recommended abstaining from stress.
The woman who is haunting you can paralyze you with a single glance.
Indeed, it happened. I was lying awake. I saw my child running, but I struggled to breathe. It felt like something was weighing down my chest, and I was unable to move or scream.
Every day, every evening, I come to see her because I'm afraid something might happen, God forbid.
Nadia, did you feel anything strange when you stayed overnight with your sister?
I tried to wake up, to open my eyes, but I couldn't. I was terrified.
When the dark-haired woman appeared, everything around seemed to freeze. Vera, you couldn't take your eyes off her, even when a truck almost ran over you. I saw this in my vision.
Yes, the truck almost killed me. It was terrifying.
Vera was crossing the street at a pedestrian crossing when suddenly she froze in the middle of the road and couldn't move.
My body got paralyzed. I couldn't move.
Vera saw the red light turn on and noticed a huge truck speeding directly toward her. Suddenly, she had a feeling as if someone pulled her back.
It felt like something pulled me from behind. The truck passed this close to me.
It seems someone is constantly saving you from her.
But who is this woman, and why does she seek Vera's death?
She keeps coming because of a promise. Someone promised her something. May I have your hand? I sense that your destiny was supposed to be different. You're living someone else's life, and you have little time left.
Help me, please.
Meanwhile, in Azerbaijan, Kayal Alekperov is working with Vera's photo.
I asked my jinns why the entity was pursuing Vera, and they told me a strange phrase: the death of the mother. It might somehow be connected to Vera's mother.
It's strange, but your mother is alive.
Yes, yes.
We need to work with your parents.
All right.
Vera, could we see them tomorrow?
Vera hesitated before she agreed to take us to see her parents. No one knew yet what horrors and gruesome secrets that family was hiding.
The clairvoyants and the crew returned to their hotel rooms. And the next morning, they set off to talk to Vera's parents.
Look, the cards are telling us to look for a man with wings. He will help stop death.
My mirror is showing me a little girl. She stands in a room, crying bitterly and whispering something. Suddenly, the space around her seems to change, and the same woman's spirit appears before her. I see the stranger lean down and kiss the girl.
What does it have to do with Vera?
I don't know yet. Hello?
Welcome. I'm her mom.
Where's your husband?
He won't come out.
Get daughter and go away. I don't want to see you.
I couldn't understand why the man was so aggressive. But suddenly, I saw an image of Vera's father hit her. Vera, did your father ever raise his hand against you?
The first time, he hit me twice here. At home, when my mother was away, he slapped me. I fell and got up, but he hit me again. And then I ran out of the house.
I hear him say, "May the devils take you."
Yes, my father cursed me.
And he does it all the time.
Is it possible that the woman from the other world who hunts Vera is somehow bound to her due to her father's curse?
Your father curses you because of your mother. I see him grab your mother, knock her to the floor, and start beating her.
He beat her all the time.
He beat her violently.
I sensed insane jealousy. The man believed that his wife could leave him for someone else at any moment.
He raised his hand against you even when you were pregnant.
Yes, he beat me while I was pregnant.
It was a miracle that Olha didn't lose her baby and gave birth to Vera.
She was all bruised when she birthed me. The doctors said it was impossible that she survived.
Vera, I see that as you grew up, you repeatedly saved your mother from death.
He took a knife, and I stood in front of her like this.
Vera spent her entire childhood in fear. Every day, she feared she would be too late to save her mother, and her father would kill her.
Even now, I have nightmares of my father beating my mother and trying to kill me.
Your father's hatred toward you, Vera, seems to have begun after you exposed everything. You decided to punish him.
Yes. It was when I was around 16, after I entered the college.
After another round of beating, Vera's mother ended up in the hospital again.
When I arrived, I told her, "Tell the police, otherwise he'll kill you sooner or later," and I finally convinced her.
The man was taken to the police station and a trial took place a month later. Vera testified as the main witness to her father's abuse.
I sensed that the man tried to appear as a model family man.
He said, "I've never done such a thing in my life. How can you say such things about your father?"
However, the father didn't know that for several years, his daughter had been recording all his threats to kill her and her mother.
My father would call me while I was at the college, threatening me and saying he'd bleed me to death. He wouldn't stop calling and threatening, and so my friend said, "Let's record him threatening you."
The recordings became the main evidence against Vera's father in court. The prosecutor demanded a 6-year prison sentence for him.
But then I sensed that when the man was one step from the prison, someone saved him.
And Vera's mother, the woman he had tormented all his life, did it.
He persuaded Mom, and she withdrew her appeal, and so he only received a 3-year suspended sentence, and a month later, he was granted amnesty.
The man returned home and continued to torment his wife. Since then, he forbade his daughter from visiting their home.
Whatever Vera's mother said, she was content living with her abuser, so she didn't leave him. But her daughter was the one who suffered.
All I ever wanted was a normal family. Before going to bed, I always dreamed of a good family where no one would be beaten, where everything would be fine. I wanted us to go out, have fun, and enjoy ourselves. I had nothing. I can't say I had a happy childhood. I never went anywhere with my parents, like other kids, to the circus, the park, the movies. We never went anywhere, but I wanted to, and I asked you. When was the first time in all those years that you told me you loved me? When did you say that? I didn't feel love and protection.
Olha, why did you withdraw the appeal?
I had nowhere to go. It all belongs to him.
But if you had had him put behind the bars, he wouldn't have beaten you anymore, and you could have stayed here and communicated with your daughter, and you know it perfectly well.
This has been my life. What can I do, you see?
I don't understand her at all. It's either fear or perverted love.
Your inaction exposed your daughter to mortal danger every day.
It's a betrayal by both her parents. She didn't expect this from you.
You never listened to me. You always chose the wrong way.
Vera hasn't spoken to her parents for over 5 years. Has her mother hurt her this time? Will she change her attitude toward her daughter and her life in general?
I tuned in again to understand whether the dark-haired killer woman was connected to the curses. And I realized she wasn't.
But then I saw Vera's house again in a black circle and the dark-haired woman next to it. We need to go to your house. When we entered Vera's home, I felt the presence of someone from the world of the dead.
Meanwhile, in Azerbaijan, Kayal Alekperov describes something utterly weird.
I see an image. The dark-haired woman stands behind Rubina and reaches out toward her.
This is horrendous. Suddenly, the switch on the wall behind Rubina Tsibulska burned.
I don't know how to explain this.
This otherworldly force tried to scare us, but when we entered the house, I didn't sense her. I see a tall, dark-haired young man with blue eyes. It was his spirit that stopped our van and showed me you almost got hit by a truck. You had strong feelings for him.
Mikola.
Mikola was Vera's first love. They dated before she got married.
She always called me and said what a great man she'd met. She said she didn't need anyone else.
Suddenly, I had a vision of Vera lying on the couch, crying bitterly and whispering something. You were told of his death, and it was an awful blow for you.
Yes.
Mikola worked as a construction worker. He tragically died at work.
He approached the trailer. It was raining, and there was a problem with the wiring in the trailer. He grabbed the handle, and he was killed by electricity.
I sensed that Mikola loved Vera incredibly and thought only of her until his last breath.
He was dying in his friend's arms, and they told me he was speaking about me.
And then you started seeing him in your dreams.
Yes, I had a dream in which I entered the room, and he stood there, rocking my baby in the stroller. I approached him and hugged him from behind and said, "I want to be with you." And he replied, "It's too early for you to be with me."
Suddenly, I felt the presence of the spirit in the room. His eyes are very beautiful. He stands behind you, embracing you.
I indeed felt his touch.
Mikola loved Vera so much that he even tried to protect her after his death. It was he who saved her from the truck.
But his spirit couldn't constantly resist the dark-haired woman. She was too powerful. He's looking at you. And he says, "The reason lies in her family."
But what does he mean?
It's unbelievable, but at the same time, Kayal Alekperov in Azerbaijan has a strange vision too.
I see the bloodied woman, and above her is a man with blood on his hands. How are these people connected to Vera? They are her parents.
Your deceased boyfriend is showing me an image. As a little girl, you stand in the middle of the room, and I hear your father's voice. "Step away, I want to kill her." Then your father almost beat your mother to death. She was dying in the middle of the room.
I was little.
She was about 10 then.
I heard Mom screaming and ran into the house. There, I saw her lying covered in blood, and he was kicking her. I fell on her, grabbed him by the legs, and started begging him not to kick her.
I had a vision. Vera was shaking her mother, trying to revive her, and the dark-haired woman stood next to them. I heard the little girl say, "Take my life, but let my mother live." You pleaded with your mother, "Just don't die, let me die instead."
Yes.
My God.
You described the situation accurately.
So that was you that my mirror showed me at the hotel. I see a little girl. She stands in a room, crying bitterly and whispering something. Suddenly, the same woman's spirit appears before her. This woman came for your mother, and she isn't an evil entity. She's death herself.
My breath catches and tears choke me.
Bring water, please.
You stopped her.
Your words spoken over your dying mother were filled with intense love and pain. So death agreed to spare your mother's life and take yours instead. Your destiny was supposed to be different. You're living someone else's life. Death gave Vera's life to her mother. That's why Vera was supposed to die at the age when her mother was supposed to die.
But how do psychics save Vera from death? Is it even possible? And are psychics capable of doing it?
The only option is to try to return the timeline of your life, which was given to you after you were born, and the current threat of death needs to be transferred to something living.
We can transfer it to a tree.
Such rituals are always very dangerous. I couldn't even imagine how it would end, but I still decided to take the risk. I need something you often wear, like earrings, a necklace, or something like that.
I have a cross.
I went to the forest, not far from Vera's house, so that no one would accidentally get hurt during the ritual.
And I decided to perform a ritual to put protection on Vera.
I used a spell to remove the mortal danger from Vera's cross and transferred it to the water, but as soon as I started pouring it under the tree, a strong wind arose. Can you feel it? Death is approaching. It's somewhere nearby. Just look at that. Nobody move.
I saw Fire and Rubina lying on the ground. What she's about to do is dangerous. I'll recite the Quran to strengthen her protection.
The wind was growing stronger every minute. It had already destroyed the protective circle of salt the gypsy clairvoyant had made.
Here's your sacrifice. Here's the life you must take. This is what you came for. Take your ransom. Everyone stay in place.
It was pure madness. Above all, we wanted to escape from there. But as soon as Rubina Tsibulska uttered her last words, the wind rapidly subsided, and silence enveloped us.
You got what you wanted. Now you can go. Go. Vera, you're safe now.
I feel a lot better. I'm so glad they came. I'm very grateful to the psychics. I even feel happier.
To save her mother, the daughter was willing to sacrifice her own life. Hopefully, her mother will finally understand it. If this story impressed you, don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to our channel. Many more amazing stories are coming up.